Text New York State E-MDT, NYS Enhanced Multidisciplinary Team Initiative, National Elder Abuse MDT Training and Technical Assistance Center. Coordinators' perspectives, unique aspects of hybrid E-MDT meetings.
Some of the differences between holding the straight in-person meetings versus the hybrid meetings is the ability to engage a team and relationship building. There's so much that happens prior to a meeting starting and then afterwards that is oftentimes lost when you have the virtual people that either they're just clicking off the meeting really fast or they can't really hear those little side conversations. And so much of the team building happens during the meeting, yes, but the side conversations when we're all done and we're finishing up our coffee is lost. Because that was, I think, one of the best parts of facilitating in-person meetings was connecting with your team in a way that was meaningful. And it really helped as we did this work to have those connections.
Yeah, I agree. I think with hosting a hybrid meeting, and especially for those who are participating virtually, I, as a coordinator, am doing a lot more engagement one-on-one with those virtual participants so that I can keep that either relationship going or develop that relationship. Because of course we're going to see turnover, we're going to see changes in membership. That's just part of facilitating a team. And so how do I ensure that I can continue that? Because we need that relationship so that we can have that connection, that ability to provide the best recommendations and engage the best with our teams.
I feel as though our virtual members are sort of at a disadvantage because they aren't a part of the actual physical space. So I do feel as if I need to kind of keep an eye on our virtual members a little bit more and to be more aware of some of the platform features like the hand raising, because I will miss that, a lot. I do feel as though it is our responsibility as facilitators to kind of pull them in a little bit more.
I have noticed that at times our virtual attendees may not be as comfortable in engaging or may feel like they're just interrupting the conversation that's happening in the room. So one of the things that I had read was to start with the virtual participants when we're asking a question. And so when we're opening it up to recommendations, we start with, do any of the virtual attendees have any recommendations? That way, we're inviting them to participate, we're encouraging them to engage and showing them that just because they're virtual doesn't mean that, we don't want them participating. It just helps kind of build some of that rapport and some of that understanding as an in-person facilitator trying to engage those members who are virtual.
I also think the level of preparation is much higher. We not only have to consider the in-person attendees and the papers and the information that goes about setting up an in-person meeting, but we also have to think about making sure things get sent out ahead of time for our virtual participants, that they have access to the technology at that time.
When I'm going to set up in another location for one of my E-MDT meetings, I tend to have kind of a large load that I'm bringing with me because I have the ability, I've been able to access the equipment that I need so that I can host a more effective hybrid meeting. And so, I'm ensuring that I have the camera, the microphone, my laptop. I have to make sure I'm bringing my cell phone with me that I can turn into a hotspot so that I can access Wi-Fi if I'm not able to access Wi-Fi through whatever location I'm at. There are some other things that can just be really helpful to include that, like a tripod so that you can position your camera where you want it to be and things like that. So we're taking those various pieces. So the physical preparation of what I'm bringing with me to a meeting looks much different than what I would bring to a meeting before.
I think I also have to think about the what ifs. So even though I think that the equipment will be in the room that I'm going to, that they said that they've been able to provide that, for my own sort of sense of security, I'd like to bring it with me just in case. So I make sure I have my laptop, even though they said that they won't need to use that, we can use theirs. I don't ever want to be caught in a situation where we don't have access to our virtual participants.
No matter how I set up, I always have some level of mistake I'm making while I'm setting up. whether it's all of a sudden I don't remember how to share my screen correctly, although I've been doing it for years. Or all of a sudden I plugged my camera into the wrong thing. And I think there's some level of, I always get like a chuckle out of my virtual attendees that way. And there's some level of comfort and just that rapport, that like the ability to connect in that way. So I think sometimes it can feel really awkward to share with your team members the mistakes you make and the errors that are coming out. But sometimes it's really beneficial to show them that, just because the meeting may go well, although again, there will always be some level of an issue, even though that is going well, it can be really worthwhile for them to see kind of some of those little snafus that you run into as well.
And I think that actually is kind of nice because it does make everyone else in the meeting feel a little bit more comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
So knowing that if they end up having issues, the coordinator is understanding of that and that there are backup plans.
A credits page listing the following logos: Weill Cornell Medicine's New York City Elder Abuse Center, Lifespan of Greater Rochester, Red Wind Consulting, University of Southern California's Keck School of Medicine / National Center on Elder Abuse and National Clearinghouse on Abuse in Later Life. A disclaimer statement is also included.